Okay, part two with the Premier. Okay, midterm, 2 more years. Time flies.
Yeah,
I mean, time and
2
your
years.
hair, your hair.
It's grayer than it used to be.
No,
even
not bad.
even my barber says that he's having more difficult time trying to hide it. So.
No, I don't think it's that bad. But anyway, I'm not saying that. Anyway, never mind that. What do we see when you were in that desk? Then you have the bureaucrats walking here. Congratulations, Mr. Premier. Then they give you what's going on. Yeah. This is the money.
Within a couple of days after the election, actually, the first set of briefing notes that I received from Dave Ferguson, who was then the clerk of the Legislative Assembly, and who very shortly after said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to retire now." You know, that part of it. You know, the demographic challenges, the reality of the big train that's coming down the tracks of our aging population, and a population that is not as well as we used to be, and what that implication is, the fiscal issues that we face as a province, and our the more and more difficulty in being able to be economically strong. You know, those were some of the real challenges, I guess, for me that hit, and there was one figure more than any other that hit me like a brick between the eyes, was that if we don't change how we do things over the next 15 years or so, less than 15 years, there wouldn't be an acute care bed, a bed in a hospital that wouldn't be taken up by a senior waiting for a placement. And I guess that's a pretty strong message to hear.
It's funny that you say that, because remember Brian Kenny?
Yeah.
And Brian Kenny, and he was Minister of Special Seniors,
or possibly, yeah.
And he got appointed that cabinet post, and I seen him about a week later. I'll never forget it. It was right in front of here on the sidewalk, and his eyes were about this big, and he was, excuse my language, he was scared shitless. He was just terrified. He didn't know. He said, "I don't know what we're going to do, where we're going to get the money." He got the facts.
And you know, one of the things that we're working on right now, there's a panel that's being led by Dr. John McLaughlin, who used to be the UMB president. They're looking at healthy aging, and they're going to be reporting this fall. And they're looking at all sorts of different ideas on how we can ensure that our seniors are able to live vibrantly in our communities and be more healthy as we go forward. If we can't think about those things, we're certainly going to have a real difficult time coping as we go forward. So we're looking, you know, certainly good ideas in New Brunswick, good ideas outside New Brunswick, and we're going to start to have a discussion with New Brunswickers on it. And that's one of the most important things, I think, actually, that we've undertaken over the last while, is to start to understand, you know, where we need to be going as a province, making decisions today that are going to have impacts over the next few years.
So 2 years, you got 2 years left. How are we financially? Are we better off than 2 years ago? Are we worse off? Sure. Are we more in debt? I mean, I know your finance minister didn't resign. He's still there. Like his hair is a little bit whiter, much whiter.
Like mine.
Like, you know, but I mean, how are we in better shape? Or
complex question, I guess. My comment is there's a whole lot of things that you'd have to ask. Are we putting the things in place so that as we go forward we can be stronger? Absolutely. So, you know, we've come forward with things like performance measurements and benchmarking within government, starting to change the very culture of how government does its work for the people of New Brunswick. We're doing things like renewal, which has been a grassroots from the bottom up approach to looking at, again, how can we be more efficient within government? Are the fiscal challenges as strong today as they are difficult today than they were 2 years ago? They're always going to be difficult. What I would say is, you know, we've been able to significantly reduce the size of the deficit, but we're still adding debt, and that's a very difficult thing. So is the government of Canada and other provinces right now, because part of the piece of being strong is a strong economy. And the world is very different than it was 2 years ago. And, you know, if you look at what is going on in Europe right now and the major concerns that are taking place there, if you look at what continues to go on in the U.S., we are impacted by that. And so we've been fortunate in many ways as Canadians and as New Brunswickers to not be as impacted as some other places, but we're still impacted.
Speaking of money, thank God Point Lepreau started.
Yeah, this week synchronization, I guess, is what they call it, and that's going along well.
How long would that take to collect $1 billion?
Look, we're doing the necessary work that we need to do on it. The first priority, again, is to get Point Lepreau up and running full steam. That's the work that's still going on. And then we'll continue to do the other work that we need to.
You still talking to Stephen Harper to get some money to help?
We certainly are. Oh, and that I can tell you that whenever I meet with him, it's one of the highest priorities.
Is he a nice guy?
Absolutely. Look, just came back, well, we were just in the Congo for the Francophonie Summit. And very, very, it was a difficult set of meetings. The Congo, like, we are so blessed. If you look at the way, the horrid conditions that people live in there, the human rights violations
and you talk about
on
that
their own population, we were able to bring a declaration or resolution forward that all countries were able to support to condemn the Congolese government on how they treat their own citizens. But on the way back from Congo, I was able to fly home with the Prime Minister. And we had a bunch of time just to talk, and he I believe cares deeply for the people of Canada. Again, when you look at New Brunswick, we have difficult decisions that we need to take to ensure that we're stronger in the future. It's no different in Canada as well as our nation.
So financially, we're getting to get on whole.
We are, this year the deficit was smaller than last year. We were able to make a significant reduction in the deficit last year, but it's still not easy, and that's part of the ongoing work that's taking place. And even when we get to a zero balance in terms of deficit, that still doesn't mean that we're out of the woods. We've got to continue to demonstrate to New Brunswickers that they're getting good quality services at good value for their hard-earned tax dollars.
Okay, that's good.